I was just gonna through it. The stickum on it, this is drywall tape. The stickum on it does not hold very well. So if you use this, which you could use it this way, uh, I know I've got a stick. Oh, there's a paper towel. If you could use it this way, you're going to need some paint that's not very runny. You know, kind of thick, sticky. I mean, kind of, yeah, like that. Just not something that's real wet and fluid. And then you could probably make this work. I said probably. To paint that in where you want it. We'll see how that works in a minute. There's another way to use it that's much more successful, but I thought this was my original idea. So let's try stamping with some of this stuff. One of the advantages of this stuff is stamping, and this, when we get back to it, is that it's got kind of that kind of not exactly tacky surface,
Yeah.
and so the paint kind of holds on it well enough for you to stamp with it. So, you know, you could get scales or bumps or whatever you want to call them that animal has.
Is that more of the same? But
This
just
is
different?
more the same stuff. It's just got a different pattern on it. And I don't know if it'll look different or not because I didn't get the whole pattern. You know, you can press harder and maybe get a whole pattern. Yeah, like that. So there's possibilities. This should dry before I pull it up, but I'm not going to wait. Yeah. So we could get that, or we could. Oops. But like I said, if this is real runny, it doesn't work very well. So we could do that kind of thing. See, anyway, you can get some textural effects. Now, what I like about the textural effects. Huh?
Can y'all pass that around?
Oh, yes. So, I experimented on here. Some of it I washed back up. I even used white at one point.
That looks good.
I like the idea of actually going outside the lizard a little bit, you know, rather than trying to make it look real, but rather to kind of bridge between him and the outside world. So some of this I did pretty subtly, or you could make it really, you know, stand out. It's just something to play with. But first you want to get your lizard started. You know, you want some base stuff in here. My suggestion on the base, because having done this now with another class,
There's another class.
yeah, there's another class that already aced it. They were
Aced
wonderful. Yeah, aced it. So,
No
uh,
pressure.
Okay,
but-
we suck.
but there were problems. There were problems, as there always are. So one of the things I would suggest is getting some of the details in before you do the overall wash, because a lot of people kind of lost their place once it got wet all over. Now, I'm not saying that that's any of you, but this is just one way of going about it. So right here I have a Queen Burnt Scarlet with a little bit of brown. You could use anything that's dark. So I'm going to get the inside of his mouth here. And I want something that's pretty dark, but I want it to feel red-ish. And it doesn't mean that you wouldn't go and get this darker later. But this gives you a beginning and some tight edges in a few places, like right up here at the top of the roof of the mouth, right up here. You kind of need that edge to show up later. So I just add water in here. I'm just interested in getting a few dark areas and kind of, you know, place holding some of the details. So we could get the eye in. Let's just take some ultramarine. I haven't used this palette much in so long that I may have forgotten where everything is.
What color is that?
That's burnt umber. So I'm just mixing them to get a dark. And I'm just going to put the dark of the eye in. And you can see that the eyeball does not come all the way down here. And I think my drawing doesn't reflect that very well. You could do it any way you want. I think if you just follow the drawing, it's good enough. But the drawing is not correct. So, okay, so I've got that. Let's see, where else do we need to go? We could put a few, we could start a few bags and wrinkles here. He has got an amazing number of bags and wrinkles. But again, this part of this is just about, having a little bit of character in here and being able to find stuff. So you could also just do some stuff where you throw in some soft edges and start to build this up. Where else? Oh, this area right up in here. I had a lot of people get confused about this. I'm just picking a red, any red. This is sort of a purplish red, and you may choose to follow what more of the colors you see on him, or you might want to come out with totally other colors of your own.
It's this part right here, right? This little round.
Yeah, this is just a little area in there that is darker right up in here. It's actually darker along the top. I'm just trying to get, let's just add a little more dark right up in there. And by the time we come over this with other color, this is all going to weaken some. But I would get a few places in like that. I might go ahead and do his toenails. Again, feet got lost. You will see this foot down here is, actually he's standing on his knuckles there part way. But I figure, you could put a little grass there or a rock in front or whatever and not try to make something up there, because this kind of looks just kind of awkward, like he lost fingers or something. And it's like, wasn't that you, Alex, that just said a while ago, the photographer teacher said not to cut arms off?
Don't cut appendages off.
Yeah, it's better to just kind of fade that off than to look like, like he's been maimed. Although, it's not that I
But maybe
feel
he's been
deeply for
named.
lizards,
I was
but
gonna say, they do get named.
although Alex has a very good lizard story. You remember the lizard story?
Do we?
The little gecko, the poor little gecko in the garage door.
Oh. I don't want to tell stuff like that.
You mean the gecko pancake?
Yes, the gecko pancake. Now here's a little area here that's really kind of an extension of his mouth.
Broke my heart. See, why does she have to remind me of that?
Well, because after your neighbor, I thought I'd see if I could outdo it.
We always had geckos all over the house. And invariably, one would get in, we wouldn't know it, and I'd raise the area rugs up to clean under them, and there's
A little flat.
little flat skeletons
Yeah.
under.
Yeah, I've gotten them in the patio door. a
The
couple of
sliding
times.
door, yeah. We
You
used
get
to-
it. When I was visiting my husband years ago when we were dating, he just does not like lizards or bugs or whatever. So it was cold and I turned on the fireplace and all of a sudden I see this little gecko just jump. And I'm like, did you know you had a little gecko? He says, yeah, it's been waiting for you to get it out. So I got some gloves and I got it out, but it was the funniest thing because turn on the, we were just jumping.
Has he
Waiting
become
for
a
you.
softer, kinder person since he met you?
Oh,
Oh.
I
Or
probably.
have you become hard?
No, she'll never become hardened.
Oh,
No. I think I'll put a little more dark in there. So, you know, I would get, you could do more than this if you wanted, but the idea is to just get some darks started. You know, some of those little points where it's going to make a difference, you know, if you lose them and it all gets mushy. So some of those little places. And then what we're going to do is an overall wash. Okay. So you don't want to put this on thick, you know, but just about like that should work. And then we'll be off to the races. What we're going to do now is just give him sort of an overall wash. Some of this could go into the background or not. I prefer to have a little combination of something. And then you need to know what colors you want to use. And, oh dear, that was the part I didn't plan. Okay, so, because we've been using this cobalt teal.
Is that the same as Andrew's?
Yes.
Whatever? Okay.
He had to go and confuse everybody that way. And here I've got some. That stuff's a lot stronger, man. That I didn't pick up any more paint on the brush. It's
What
just
color is that?
strong stuff. That's Quinn Violet, and I think it's Quinn Violet.
Looks like
If you don't
It
have
might
Quinn
be the
Violet,
fuchsia.
what would be
It might be the
another?
fuchsia.
Oh, yeah, that looks like fuchsia.
Yeah, it's probably the fuchsia. They look like the same thing, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
I had some fuchsia at one time, and I decided it had too much white in it. So I don't know what that is. Like I said, I haven't
it's
been
purple.
using this.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's also, I may want to make him a little bit greenish. I don't know what I want to do with him. You know what? My brush will tell me something.
There's some
So-
yellow in there too.
Yeah, I don't want the yellow this time. Okay.
So, tell me.
Squeeze me.
Okay, I don't know what. The thing is that I do want to be fairly light with this. And, you know, if I get some inside the mouth, it won't hurt a thing. Because most of that's going to be dark in there. So I've got these spatters out here, figuring that some of that will be something that bleeds over. Into the background. If it doesn't, I'll just here, because I'm trying to kind of, you know, bridge those edges so that he's not a static, you know, pasted on looking thing. So I've got some pretty thinned out paint here, and oh yeah, well, we were going to use some of one of these. Let's just see when it's pale, and then when it moves in with the teal, it changes to a little bit more of a grayed looking thing. Oh, let's put a little of that up here too. Oh, you know what? My brush was right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that.
Can I borrow that brush?
Yeah. Sure can. So I'm getting down just a base. And that doesn't mean that he's going to wind up, I think that's him too there. It doesn't mean that he's going to wind up this color at all, because I'm going to build a lot on top of him. And this is a rock here. You know what? That rock could, let's just start out with that. So, here. Oh. How about that? Something on that order. Oh, I got to point out. I probably shouldn't do this on film, but I will. So a student, just to point out how wild that Friday class is. Okay, a student was looking at this as she noticed a strategically placed highlight here, which looked a little like a heart. So hers has a heart there. Yeah,
I thought it was genitals.
Well, that's the Claiborne approach.
yeah, that's clever. Okay. Yeah, what? I think I'll stop right there. And, you know, I'm going to have some, maybe I'll break a couple more edges. Well, maybe I won't start yet.
Just have fun.
That brush is going again.
The brush has ideas of its own. You know what? I'm going to just some shading. And some people have already shaded and they know how anyway, but I'm just going to give y'all a general idea. So I'm going in here, some of these places that need shading. And I have a mixture of the two colors that I just used because I thought that that would make something compatible. And
And it works.
it works. And then I'm doing the thing where you just touch the edge. I'm making a big deal out of this because I'm kind of on a kick to. I've just got a few students that are kind of fighting with this. So I've got a soft edge. Now, eventually I want this to roll, and so I'll come back and I'll do another area up here, but I can't do that right now. So let's see, there's this little place. Whoop, whoop, whoop. The thing you want to guard against is getting just a line. You know, you don't want this to just be the same thickness. So if you kind of just noodle around with it a little bit, and then you can even skip a spot or two when you soften the edges to give it a little more variety if you want. Something, let's get rid of that. Something on that order. Up here we've got an area that's really soft, and oh gee, the color's changing up here too. Several things to think about. One of the things that you'll see that I did here that I liked was that eventually when I came back with shading, I left a little lip line there with the lighter color here and a little bit at the top, so you can see that. And I think that did a lot for him to have a lip line. It's not a lip, you know, I don't know what it is, but it kind of worked there. So I guess I could do a little of that. Let's pick up a little bit more purple here, so we go a little warmer maybe. And I think that's not quite strong enough. And if you happen to shake, that's an advantage because it kind of has a little, you know, scaly edge there.
You hear that, Linda?
That's good,
Okay.
especially today.
And then right here, it's kind of an area like that. So I'm gonna add water there and some in under here. He's got an area right along here. Maybe I'll just leave a hard edge there just because it's variety. Oh, let's just let it run into that down there. Okay, so you can see how I'm beginning to shape it. Now, if that was dry enough, which it really isn't, I would come back. This may not work because I'm doing it too soon, but maybe I'll overlap these. So what I get is I get a little bit of a line there. And then the soft edge will make the skin roll again. Because if your skin don't roll, you know, that kind of thing going on. That kind of lost it, kind of washed it out because I should have let the bottom dry first all the way. Because I really don't want like super hard edges there, although they could be. So let's just say that this stuff is calling me and I just can't stand to wait. This is not as thick. But the thing is, I could add bits of this as I go along, even when parts of this are wet. Let's just try it and see what happens. Just because I want a little something broken up here. And this is gonna be darker. And I don't know quite what it's gonna do. Okay, so I could play with that. Maybe I'll lighten some areas, or I'll mark through it, or I'll leave some of it, or, you know, I've got some of it out here, and I kind of like that too. There's an interesting edge here. I think I'll leave that. But you can see how you could, as you are working, begin to develop some of this in. You don't have to wait till the very end to do all of it. But you may find that you put more stuff in as you go. You know what? This would look better if it had a couple more dots right there. Well, that's a little there. Okay. Fingers always help. So, you know, you can build some stuff like that and just begin to develop it.